Welcome back to OMV Respect the Game podcast. It's good to be back, y'all. It's March Madness. I'm
March
turned up.
Madness.
It's basketball
Yes,
season.
sir.
Who y'all taking?
Well,
March Madness. Man, who you gonna pick?
Man,
how y'all doing tonight? We got us some special guests. I'm Coach Ayers, and we here live with our two special guests, and we got our two special guests here that we're going to be bringing to the show. Welcome, fellas. How y'all doing today?
I'm doing great.
Doing well.
Doing well. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Gary Bush. I'm actually a senior now with a son is a junior and the third, his son. 77 graduate of Wayne High School.
Yes, sir.
Avid sports fan and lover.
All right, I'm Kendrick Boyd. I'm a 1981 graduate of Wayne High School.
okay, Wayne.
I'm all the way in that piece. That's where I be following right now this year. But we got Coach Foster over there. He always trying to handle a bit of Wayne.
Yeah,
over there.
Raya Generals.
But we handle them though. We been there. We still building.
Yeah, we got the old school up in here, and we've been talking about old school with the new school. The difference of how we grew up, and where we was at in the park to where they in the air conditioned gym. So
Right.
to me that's a
Y'all ain't had AC?
no, we ain't have AC. We had a fan
Oh, man. With the doors propped
with
open?
the doors propped open.
Hey, see, look, spoken like a true millennial. We get out. Hey, we played in the parks.
I might be outnumbered
Right.
today, but it's okay.
Get in the gym. Get in the gym where it's 80, 90 degrees was a luxury.
Right.
So kids nowadays, you're right. It's got to be 69 degrees on the inside. Nobody plays outside. So everything that Coach Mike was talking about is. You look at them two to your right.
So you're right.
They like what the what? They don't
Small
understand.
jungle.
Thank
Right.
you.
Right.
Thank you. Shooting over tree branches. Hey, Weiser Park. You can dribble around the dribble around the pole,
Right.
shoot over the tree behind the back.
Over
They
the
have no idea
trick
what we
plays.
talking about.
So we're gonna go right into everything, and we're gonna get to talking about your success in at Wayne High School, as far as the things that you guys did there and how you get there.
Okay. Well, as a 1977 graduate, I was a blanket award winner. Football, basketball, track. We had quite a team back in those days before they had class basketball. We were ranked number 2 in the state. Should have won it all, but all it takes is a flat game and you're out of the tournament. I had much of my success on the track field, winning a couple of city championships, a couple of sectionals,
At 5'7".
couple of regionals, high jumper. A good friend of mine, Eric Petrie, taught me how to high jump in the 7th grade, and after that, it was just all up and up and up.
Yeah.
Now look, he'd open up with you, Mr. Bush. Now why he'd open up? And, I do what I do. I do my homework.
I
And I know
got
I
you.
got my generals over here. So
Right.
I got one of your teammates. They
Uh-oh.
told me to make sure I ask you,
Uh-oh.
Okay.
what does HB mean?
Oh, Al Gooden. I know who
You already
sent. I
know.
know who sent that message. That was sent by Al Gooden. We used to call each other homeboy because we played up to a park called Bowser Park.
Yeah.
And a lot of the fellas from the South played up there, and we heard a guy once say, "If you keep hitting that jump shot." That jumper like that, he said, I'm gonna go to the trunk of my car and get a tire handle. So we started calling them homeboys, and that's just kind of a play thing between us. He's a good guy though.
Hey, no question. Now, hey, I had a follow up off that.
All
That's
right.
good that you did that.
All right.
Al said, who was the biggest HB that you knew?
Al Gooden.
Okay.
It was him. Yeah, he was the biggest one. Al, we called him Gentle Giant. We'd always say to Al in practice, "Get mean, man." But he was just a nice guy.
Okay. And you know what I know what's funny? Al hit me with HB. Now, as most guys, I'm like, man, I'm not getting your asset on air. I don't know what that means. I can't trust that. But I
Oh,
told
man.
Al, I said, consider this you and it's Mr.
Right.
Bush.
Right,
I said, I'm safe
right.
asking it. That's
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. He, even to this day, that's what we call each other.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful.
So did you guys play together at Wayne?
We did. Oh no, you mean us?
Yes, you two.
No, he's a youngster.
Oh,
Exactly.
let him call you.
Yeah.
No, he said.
I came in a year after him.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, it was 77. I started high school at Wayne in 77. He graduated in 78.
Okay.
Hey, but Shallante, you go to my next question.
Okay.
Because, hey, Mr. Benny Moore, another Wayne grad, said, make sure I ask y'all. We got a 77 and 81 grad.
Targeted.
Which team was better? We're going to let y'all break that down.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I mean, I can go here. He really don't have a whole lot to say about it. They had the better team, but we had the greater success.
That is,
And that's
That
what matters right there. We had the greater success.
that is true.
Explain that.
Well, because for many years, coming up in the 70s, Wayne, they were stacked.
Okay.
Yeah.
They had 6'9", Big Al, Bates, Roosevelt, Gary, and Camax.
Yeah.
Kenny was probably about 6'5".
About 60. Mhm.
They had a host of athletes. They had a big squad.
Yeah.
We were never blessed like that. Our biggest guy, we made it to semi, was 6'1".
Wow.
Damon Witt
So
was
y'all-
our biggest guy.
So y'all worked
Yeah.
harder than them.
We just
Wow.
had better talent.
Oh.
Better talent.
But hold on, because you know what, Kendrick speaks to something that, and Gary, you talked about y'all was number 2. I always thought y'all was number 1. But what did happen? Explain, because he just talked about y'all was loaded from
We
Big
were.
Al, from Big Al to Roe. Roe was the man.
Yeah.
Y'all had a squad.
We
What
were
happened?
loaded. It is the fear of every team at tournament time. Flat. We just picked the wrong time to have a flat game. We did it twice. In fact, we were ranked number 2. At that time, they had just started playing 3 games per week. We had played a Wednesday game. We had played a Friday game. We had a backup game on Saturday. Went down to a little place called Blackford down by Muncie.
Yeah.
The
they still
number
playing
1
there.
team, Jeffersonville, had lost that Friday night, and we were playing Saturday. If we'd have won, would have been number 1.
Okay.
We lost.
Okay.
Just a flat game. And in my high school career, I lost 12 games. 3 my sophomore year, 6 my junior year, 3 my senior year. But the 3 tournament losses were losses that myself, Roosevelt, and Al, we just shot bad. Any other night, we'd have had a victory. But it's tough when your stars are not hitting.
Gotcha.
So also, back in the day, everybody was playing everybody.
Everybody was playing everybody.
And so everybody was knocking everybody off
Right,
as you go,
right.
because you won the sectionals too.
We won the sectional. We got to the regional championship. Northside got us in our junior year. Southside got us our senior year. We had beaten both of those teams twice earlier in the year. I mean, just a flat game. And you, as coaches, you all know, sometimes you just have those kind of games that you just, like Clemson had today in the first half. They had a,
Was they flattered? They just got their
they
butts
did.
whooped by a better team.
They made it a
How
game.
about that?
They
Hey,
made it a
team
game.
whooping.
But
Yeah.
13 points at halftime,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen.
That's kind of sad.
No,
Very
but you know what? It's funny. It's interesting that you say a flat game, and I can appreciate that because there's other teams that we know from our area in Fort Wayne, in which guys kind of was their own worst enemy.
Right.
Guys fighting at halftime.
Right.
Guys getting into it before the game even started. Guys ain't get the right amount of sleep, hanging out, kicking
Right,
it before
right.
going into the game. So honestly, I can appreciate the fact that you said a flat game. You literally ain't come in and say, yeah, it wasn't no animosity amongst our teammates. There
No,
was no adversity. We just was off.
We all got along good because we had all come through elementary school and junior high together. I mean, we knew each other. We were friends. You know, you battle in junior high school, and then you all come together in high school. You know each other's game. Just you know, flowers, if I can say it like this, to Al Gooden. Everybody said Roosevelt was the athlete he was, but the best performer by far on our team was Al Gooden.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you shoot 74% from the field your junior year, that turnaround jumper was money, all except for the game we lost.
Now you say competitiveness, like y'all battled in junior high and all this other stuff, and you said y'all kind of came up together. So it was no transferring and things like that.
We played in different junior highs, but then the way they reapportioned the high schools, we all fed into the same.
Okay.
All fed into the same high school, and then you know, I can't say too much here, but a couple of changes of address would
Okay, that's how it was back then.
bring a couple of athletes into the same place, and but it was we loved the game though.
Okay, so you feel like the kids today is a little different, or like, you know,
district is.
explain, I guess, a little bit on that.
Tell them
The district is, like I remember when I came up.
Uh-huh.
Man, I played. We were loaded all over the city.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no bad teams,
Okay.
but there was dominant teams.
Yeah.
Because North Side would always be loaded.
always tough.
South Side would be stacked.
Okay.
Elmhurst would be stacked. And like I said, we had but we all had different little niches that we had our own specialties. Like you went to when we played South Side, their starting lineup was like John Flowers, Ron Tabor,
Jumpers.
Irving. All these guys were like 6'9", 6'8", 6'7". Little Scotty was only 5'5".
Yeah,
Scotty Farrell.
Scotty Farrell. Then they had big teams.
Iceman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say,
Those
when
youngsters.
them the teams that we play. Then we go to North Side. You got Tim, you got John,
Scrappy.
you got Hardy. You got all of these guys out. These are the guys that we played against.
Okay.
Then even Snyder was good that year in basketball. They had a decent team.
See, it's
So let me ask you, Kendrick, real quick. That I know when we was coming up, we used to go at each other, at the parks. But
wait, you played with him?
Kendrick said he gave you 30. What you know about going at it? Come on. Can't be telling you up here with us up here. We used to go at it. Go ahead, hit him. That's up.
Now you got to address it,
I'm
man.
finna let everybody know.
Yeah, let him know. Let's hear this. Finish your
I was a
statement.
D man. I wouldn't let nobody get 30 on me. He might have been in.
Would you at 25, KB?
He might have ended up in a tree somewhere.
Oh, he said he throwing you out.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying though, we used to have to battle against the Bushes and the Al Good and them at the park.
At the parks.
Right.
There wasn't no. You lose, you might be watching the games for the rest of the night. You.
Well, the thing that I noticed that like what's going on today versus back then.
Right.
Schools like Homestead, Carroll, they never got a win in the city.
And now they
They would not. They always left with L's. When they come and had to play, the Wayne, the South Side, the North
It's
Side.
funny that you say that.
Elmhurst.
That's crazy because like they structured now.
No. They had a dog out at Homestead now.
Okay.
Called Tracy Foster.
Okay.
They had a dog out there now.
But they just couldn't beat the.
Hey, I'm going to let him make his statement, but that would be inaccurate.
Okay.
Because he's right. That dog is Tracy Foster. We go to pull up no, he didn't lose. But I appreciate that, though.
But we wanted to get better. So if we lost the year before, we spent all summer and we wanted to play the best. There were 4 or 5 parks that if you went to, you were going to find the stars. If you went over to Weiser Park or Memorial Park, Bowser Park, the club,
McMillan.
you went down to the reservoir, you were going to find them there lakeside. And we played against them through the summertime. And then we'd be ready, or thought we'd be ready the next year coming around.
No question. Look, Gary, I want to go back to something you talked about with Big Al. You talk about his turnaround. But here's the deal. With Big Al, you want to know what's funny? I use Big Al as an example as I've continued to coach.
Right.
Big Al, like you talked about, Roosevelt, as you said, was the man.
Yeah.
He was the man. Big Al, a humble guy, unassuming, didn't get caught up in all that. And he was like, yeah, Ro could shoot all the balls.
Right.
Wasn't tripping.
I'm getting all the rebounds.
I'm getting all the rebounds.
Right.
It's like he can shoot all he wants. I'm just gonna come out here jockey, and that's why he led in field goal percentage at Wayne, career
Right.
field goal percentage at Wayne, and field goal percentage
At
at
Ball
Ball
State.
State, because that was his mentality.
Al Gooden was one of the most underrated. Now, he was undersized. I mean, we listed him at about 6'5". He was really about 6'4".
Correct.
But Al could jump out of the gym. A great athlete. He also played football with us. When our tight end went down, he played tight end. When the fullback went down, he played fullback.
Versatile.
Al was just he was a pure athlete, and he took pride in his game. And I don't want to say that the younger ones don't take pride in the game, but I think the way the game has changed, it has caused them to develop different skills instead of all-around skills.
Do you think that's from the coaching aspect? Or?
I don't think it's just the coaching.
From
I
the
think
AAU atmosphere.
that's it.
Okay.
You got a
It's a
star,
whole change.
and they're going to cater to the star. And after the star, either you got to develop a role or be on the bench. I was a pretty decent shooter in my day, but when you got Al Gooden and Roosevelt Barnes and the 6'9" center, and they don't want me jacking them up from out there. It was all in the paint then. So I had to develop other parts of my game if I wanted to play. Because if you go out there shooting, I had a coach named, he believed in just get him out of there.
Oh, man.
And the difference, I'm gonna say the difference now in when, our era is the coach get to yell at us.
Right.
They could tell us a few things, and that's be the end of it.
That's
You either
right.
gonna take it or you gonna sit down somewhere.
Right.
Nowadays,
Not
You
like
yell at
that.
the kids.
you yell at the kid now. You might be up in court somewhere.
There you go. There you go.
You had the
It's
parents
changed.
down on the bench with you, having a conversation
Well,
with you,
There you
man.
go.
It's just,
But look, KB, I got something for you. I'm going to paint a picture for you.
Okay.
I'm going to let you take it. Middle school championship.
Won all of them.
Miami versus Franklin.
Willie Brooks.
Bing, bing, bing. You versus Willie
my
Brooks.
guy, man.
And we
That's my
know
guy.
Willie Brooks was a legend, but hey, y'all
my guy.
two, go ahead up. Go
Head
ahead.
up.
Tell me. At the old Central Gym that no longer exists. So
Man.
paint the picture for the people.
Willie was he was actually an underclassman that was leading Franklin. He was playing. He was a 7th grader playing on the 8th grade squad.
yeah, he was right.
We
He
were,
was real.
and that was it because we pretty much. I think that year,
Tim
that was my
Martin.
8th grade year.
Tim Martin was a 7th
We
grade.
we was undefeated at Miami. We were undefeated, and I say even during that time in the 8th grade, 8th grade was loaded then.
Mhm.
You had the Cordell Ely,
Yeah.
you had John Flowers, you had all Sim Nelson,
Bobby Dixon.
Tim Hines, all of them guys. They were there.
Yeah. John
I mean, these
Griffin,
are JJ know what I'm talking about. These are like big time athletes that went to big time schools.
Yeah.
In a small market that we had here in Fort Wayne.
Right.
Okay.
But Willie was that guy. But as they went on to Northside, they were still stacked at Northside. Willie went there. You got John Smiley, Willie Brooks, Sim Nelson, Tim Hines. And the list go on and on, go on and on. I mean, they never was without because of the way the school systems were set up. We couldn't just go it's almost like a transfer portal now. You can just go wherever you want to play. But then, I lived in my house, so I went to Wayne, and my sister went to Northrop.
Right.
And right across the street from me, that district was
Right.
Elmhurst.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like now, I mean, I don't really even know what's going on, like with the elementary and the middle school, because the sports is not it's not really don't seem like don't take the same feel back when I did it back in the day, because all us guys, we used to get together at the end of the day.
Yeah.
On our way home, we all rode the activity bus.
Yeah.
We
What's
had
that?
a hodgepodge of every school on that bus
man.
where it
Hey,
picked everybody up
we used to do
and
some
brought us
joning
right
on
back
that
into
bus.
06.
Hey, we used to do some joning on that
That's
bus.
it. That's right. You know it, right?
I think back then, I think coaching was different.
Yeah.
Okay.
They coached to give them the fundamentals to go to the next level. At our school, the 7th grade coach
Okay. Middle school.
middle school.
It was
Well, it was
junior high
junior high back
Yeah,
then. It was 7, 8, 9 when we
Okay.
went.
Yeah.
But if the 7th grade coach trained a team, then the next year he became the 8th grade coach to keep the same team. And then the 9th grade coach. So he had this team
They flipped
for
it.
3 years. And so
Same
he's
structure.
teaching them fundamentals because he's trying to groom them to be the best team they can be. Now it's win right now, because if you don't win right now, you're out of there.
Exactly.
So you look to see who's the best talent, you cater to your talent, you make the rest of them role players, because if you want to stay in your job, you got to
So
win.
The structure
So,
has changed.
and talk about this as far as like today's young people, they get to be on varsity as freshmen.
Is that wrong?
That's a good thing.
I thought that was
I didn't
good.
say it wasn't a good thing, but it wasn't happening back.
It
when
wasn't
we were
happening.
playing.
No, it wasn't happening in our day.
Because they had
I
better
went,
players,
I went straight
right?
to the
One
reserve
or
unit.
two. You could on one hand who played freshman basketball on varsity.
Okay.
Not many.
No,
Think about what I'm saying.
Hold on, back from there. Who?
In my area, that became the norm, because when I came out of middle school, I went right to the reserve unit at Wayne High School.
But see,
Reserve. He said varsity.
but-
Yeah, but then after we played my sophomore year, then that's when Ben came along. We were
Ben was the only one.
We-
Ben was
right,
one of
'cause
few.
we had a whole-
Name me anybody out of this
Right.
whole city outside of Ben Moore.
Ben Moore.
Freshman that played
Freshman
varsity.
played
That's,
freshman.
But-
with us.
that's
Yeah,
my
okay.
point.
But I'll tell you something about Ben Moore. It wasn't really the talent level; it's the maturity level.
Yeah.
But
Where he played at.
now Ben might, he may have to come back at this, but we taught Ben to play.
Okay.
We called him Spoon. We didn't let him play with the little guys. We made Ben. I mean, we 6, 7 years older than Ben. Kendrick too.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get better, you couldn't play with guys your own age, man.
Yeah.
You had to step and play with some of the older guys. Big star at Wayne High School, guy named Raymond Causey.
Yeah.
Raymond Causey was a pure shooter. First time I ever jumped over him and tipped the ball in the rim, man, he was upset, man. He's ready to go at me. But that's the way they taught us. If
Yeah.
you want to get better,
Yeah.
play with older guys. So
Yeah.
we called him Spoon. Y'all call him Ben, but we call him Spoon the next time.
I'm
you
gonna
get to
call him Spoon. And I
him
got him
Spoon.
here. He in my like I said, my Rolodex.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. I hear everything that you're saying. But if you think about how we was all created, I came up Wiser Park. All the young folks, y'all, guys was raising.
Yeah.
And I say right now, that's what's wrong with our basketball.
Right.
Guys don't have that mentorship from you guys.
Right.
I tell people when I see my elders, I know whose shoulders on which I stand.
Right.
And so you're saying that, but again, it all comes from Dorman or whoever is the coach at that
Right.
time
Right.
that had that faith and was going to go ahead
Right.
and bring him on. Because I tell you, myself at Homestead, I came through as a freshman. I did everything with the varsity team
Right.
except playing the games.
Right.
Dang.
Right.
Ain't
I
that
practiced
good?
everything. But, I talk to my coach right now, we got a relationship
Right.
in which he was Al Gooden and them's coach. He was at Portage.
Right.
So, they went undefeated. So when y'all talk about them guys coming in,
Right.
but the fact he talked about back then, the mentality was a freshman meant you had a weak program.
Right.
What?
Right.
No.
So
Wow.
it took
No.
Dorman to do that. So that's what I'm saying. I hear
Our
what you
team,
said.
I was
Yeah.
on that team. I mean, when we just didn't have big players, and like I said, we were like when we came out of there, like I say, that was my junior year, right, in high school.
Yeah.
And Ben came in, and he started off with the reserve unit just like when I came in. And him, we did the same pathway. But we were just terrible. We lost a lot of games.
Yeah.
But we had a tough schedule.
Yeah.
You see, I think the schedule that we had that year because we played all of the number one team. It was like Anderson, Muncie Central, Marion was always
Yeah.
in the top 5
Right.
units like that.
Yeah.
And we did all that.
Gotcha.
You know, so when we was just losing, so he said, "What you got to do? Bring him on. We got to play."
So y'all was okay.
He
So it
gotta
was out of
play.
necessity.
Yeah.
Got you. So that's what I'm saying. Because everything you said, I get it, and you're right. That's the training ground.
Yeah.
And with that said, I was prepared based off my mentors and my
Right.
elders. But it took. Good KB just said,
Right.
"Man, hey, let's go ahead and bring
Yeah,
him up."
bring him on.
And
Going
I
to
give
the
y'all
next year.
full Monty, and it's hilarious. I didn't know you got a relationship with Ben, and he played with Ben.
Right.
Ben was the one who asked that question.
Yeah.
Whose team was better?
Yeah.
77 or who was?
Shoulda-
That
shoulda
came
known.
from Ben. And he listens and he watches, so he's watching this right now.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
Off that 77 team, 2 of them went to NCAA Final Four.
Wow.
Yes.
Beat Steve Bates went with Arkansas the next
They
year.
went to 2 different teams, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Michigan State.
And ended up
Correct.
at Michigan
You
State.
know, yeah.
Rose went to the Final Four with Purdue.
Purdue.
Al took Ball State into the NCAA tournament. I mean,
Yeah.
Ken
Y'all were talented, man.
Kamek that
Loved it.
junior year,
Yeah.
he won a couple of Big Ten hurdle championships. You know, I'm the only one that, you know.
The only one out here shaking it out in these streets. You doing what you do. We know, hey, yes, sir.
Yep.
But
Now-
it was a different game back then. I mean, every team in the city, no 3-point line back in that day.
Right. Which
And
made it
then
different.
everybody had a big center.
Do you,
Ours was 6'9". You had Ernie Starks over at Elmhurst. He's about 6'8". You had the Taylor twins over at Southside. You had Worrell Simmons and
North
big.
side, shoot
I
that
mean,
thing.
everybody had a 6'8", 6'9" guy, and you know,
Well,
little guys like us had to
I'm
jump in the tree.
clarify for the 77 team. Basically, it was like it was a lot of athletes, good
you're
ball
right.
players in Fort Wayne in 77.
okay.
Right.
But the guy that got the press was Roosevelt.
True.
You see what I'm saying? That team was built Roosevelt. I remember it was a lot
That's
of
true.
players. You go out there and you know when we had Mr. Basketball in 1980 right here that I played with. Jim Masters.
Yeah.
He came in
Good ball
here
player.
and he tore it up.
Real deal.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
He gave us something that we wasn't used to. You know, when he came up in here.
Yeah.
Like
You know,
that,
but
yeah.
it was like, you know, then as it evolved, you know, the teams, like I say, 77, they had a lot of good guys right
Yeah.
in there. But like I say, when I can remember back in the 80s though, right? Man, you go back to the 80s, man, you know, and I think the most prolific scorer in the city of Fort Wayne. You know, they talk about, you know, we had Hardy, right? Hardy senior. But Donnie Young,
There you go.
Yeah, he was
you know,
the real
Tony
deal.
Williams.
Yeah.
Hey, no
You
more
see-
Florida
you see
State's
the nice-
finest,
you know,
baby.
yeah,
Yeah.
These are guys,
He's a
like
real
I said,
deal.
this is
Yeah.
the 1980s.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you had some guys that, you know,
Yeah.
It's flat out
But
play.
hey, to y'all point though, it's funny. You talk about 77, you talk about 80s. No, my thing is this. From 88, which is my year,
Yeah.
rolling on back, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, you can go to any high school in the city,
sold out.
And watch
and
the
it's,
game.
you going to see
Yes, sir.
2 Division I players on any team
On any squad.
that you watching. So just to summarize that, because
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I tell people all the time.
So-
88 on back. And y'all, look at the Big Ten. Think about the Big Ten.
Right.
Look at them teams. You got Fort Wayne guys,
Right.
multiple Fort Wayne guys on Big Ten schools.
Hats off to Roosevelt Barnes, though. Roosevelt Barnes was a freak of nature.
Yeah.
athlete.
6'3", 205, 4'4", hand time 40. He plays 4 years at Purdue, comes out his 5th year, makes the football team, goes to the pros. That year, before he played that 5th year, he's playing baseball down at Purdue, leading the Big Ten in it. I always thought he should have stayed with baseball. that was his best
Yeah.
sport. We played 9 games our sophomore year for football. 1,100 yards, and he gets a letter from the Minnesota Vikings his sophomore year. I mean, he's a freak, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I appreciate that shout out because a lot of
Great
people
athlete.
don't know, don't understand.
Oh, man.
Roe he picks his ticket in any sport.
Yeah,
I tell people, I grew up watching Roe
He was the real
playing
deal.
baseball at Weiser Park.
Yes, sir.
bases loaded, they
Yes,
walking
sir.
him.
You know, right,
Think about that.
Right.
Bases loaded,
Right.
you walking the cat.
Right.
That's how good he was.
right.
But no, he was definitely awesome. Now, before we let y'all get out of here, though, I got something up my ass. Because both of y'all successful life after high school athletics.
Yeah.
And obviously, respect the game. That's what we're talking about. The
Right.
importance of athletics and how it leads to success beyond.
Right.
I want each of y'all to speak to, right now, how did high school athletics help y'all prepare for what you do right now in your career? And I know KB, military, and with all that encumbers, Pastor Bush, we know what you're doing.
Yes,
Speak
sir.
to that, high school athletics. How does that help you guys right now?
Man, I did a lot of things. When I left, my thing is I wanted to wear those a red and white pinstripe at IU. But that didn't come to fruition. So I played at an AIU in AIA, and I had a lot of success up there. We won the District 21, played in the national tournament. And I just, just wasn't. I woke up one morning and I just got tired. I was just tired. I said, this ain't what I want to do. But we had guys, same thing in that tournament that year that I played in. Terry Porter, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Played out there with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just say I just wanted something different. I did 3 years, transferred back to IPFW to play with Donnie Young, Donnie, and James Hardy. We tried back then, we would call it our dream team.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to do,
Yeah.
So then I said, no, I just left because, you had to sit out. We just couldn't transfer.
Okay.
We had to sit and wait.
Yeah.
During that waiting period, I was like, I'm used to playing.
Yeah.
Right.
Woke up, I joined the military, went there, played.
Wow. So you just quit basketball?
No, I played basketball. That was my job when I got to the military.
Oh man, that's not fun.
They had all Army teams.
Okay.
We played, over there, go overseas, played overseas units and all that. I did that for a long time, and I didn't ever think that the competition that I was playing was totally different because now you're getting from the whole country.
Yeah.
You get athletes that you just wouldn't believe. And then but it panned out, because the military service, it did something to me. It gave me discipline.
Correct.
As far as, when I did get out of the service, I knew what I had to do. I had a son and, I said, well, gave me that. And I said, I got to take care of him. Jump-started a whole nother career. I retired early, been working on my 7th year.
Another career? What was that other career? I guess?
Well, I worked for the federal government. I was postal service.
Okay.
Did that, labor leader, did all of that stuff too, so that was my niche.
Yeah.
But it opened up a lot of doors, so I was able to get out and do a lot of things, and I didn't have to work long. So
That's what's up.
And just to clarify that's James Hardy Sr. Because Junior did his
Junior
thing.
did,
He did his thing
Oh,
too,
yeah.
but Senior he did the path.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
he's one of the good
He
ball
was.
players.
them the guys.
Athletics taught life lessons. The courage to face stiffer competition, teamwork, coordination, battling back through adversity, mental set. One of the things that our coach always taught us certainly isn't taught now, but he taught us to be humble winners and gracious losers. In other words, a good sport for the athletics. It teaches you, it has taught me that when adverse situations come up in life, and they will, you don't shrink to them. You step back, you analyze, you re-examine, you go at it again. Nothing, in my opinion, is more satisfying than to go back and beat the one that beat you before. And so life is much like athletics. You're going to come up against things that are competitive. You're going to have to reach deep to bring something out of yourself. You're not going to win them all. You're going to lose some, even the ones you're supposed to win that hurt so bad that you lose. But I use many sports analogies as I preach and teach on Sunday morning because it's one of the I believe personally there are two areas that are universal. I think sports are universal everywhere, and music is universal. And so you can always, I can always use the lyrics of a song to say what I need to say, or an analogy from an athletic competition to encourage people. When life knocks you down, don't stay there. Get up, see what you have, go at it again.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, before we leave, I got a question that's being coming. Should kids today play in summer league basketball outside to get better?
Outside, like
Playing outside like we used to back in the day.
You mean literally outdoors?
Outdoors.
that's what I didn't.
I think you know a lot of stuff done changed now. You know, you got to go. The culture done changed. The culture of the athletes, the culture of the game. You know, I mean, it's because outdoors. You'll be subject to more injuries.
Yeah.
And if I was a coach,
I'm a millennial.
I would prefer to have my athletes playing on the hardwood where. Because I mean that concrete jungle.
You done got
it's not like it used to be out there because
Right.
even today, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Guess what? We feel like that stuff today.
Somebody better help
That's
you.
time out. That's why Jordan
Okay.
didn't play as long, and because they was playing outside.
Yeah.
LeBron was playing in the league for a long time.
We
preserved his knees. Come on.
You gonna tell me?
I'm a millennial, man. Don't come at me. Look.
No. I'm going to the old school right
Okay.
now. You gonna tell me that you don't want?
If I was coaching,
Man.
because I want to give my. If I'm coaching, I want to keep my star
Man, they
players
need some
healthy.
stars on
Right.
their knees.
I
man. What's
I
up?
agree.
Let-
I agree. They really need to get out in the air more. Okay.
Yes, sir.
PlayStation and
Okay. I agree.
iPads. Okay. Fresh air is good for everybody. Everything needs sunlight. We need sunlight. However, asphalt and concrete courts, if you're a real good ball player, later on in life, I can still jump. I just can't land now.
You won't make it.
Oh, man.
I can't land because of all the shock of the asphalt and the cement courts.
See,
and
The only,
stuff.
only thing that like playing outdoors, I'm gonna tell you. Now this is just my theory.
Yes.
From where it's a lot of things you can do as far as training outdoors, except that can prevent the injuries and get your players ready for the next season.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take them on nice little runs. I mean, that's outdoors.
Right.
Coordinated, get them together, get them physically fit. Because the thing about it is, and I learned this in the military. No matter how hard or how tired you get, staying up for 24, 48 hours, right? You got to be disciplined. You don't have to give up. That teach them not to give up.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Brian Gummer, before you close us out, Brian Gummer, Gary, take us out. I'm going to let him take us out.
No,
But hey, but here's the deal. Hey, I want to say I appreciate both of y'all for coming on because, again, you never know who you're going to influence. And I tell people all the time, I'm an open book. You guys been mentors. Y'all taught me how to be who I am. Whether you knew it or not, my eyes is open. I'm watching. I'm emulating. Y'all my mentors. So I appreciate it. Another thing, Pastor Bush, I done had his children. He ain't never stepped over, had nothing to say, boo bloop, been supportive, just been, laid back. And that's not, again, people take that for granted.
Yes.
But there's a lot of people that come in, got something to say or, throw a little shade. Never has done that. Always appreciate that. Y'all comments about the outdoor stuff.
You ain't with it, Jay?
I mean, we talking, think about the whole generation. Michael Jordan played outdoors. Hey, John Flowers. I'm going to stick to Fort Wayne legends. Tracy Foster, James Hardy,
Kendrick Boyd.
I mean, Kendrick Boyd. Y'all that came up. So y'all, you talking, but like you said, y'all talking at your age. Hey, man, it was hard on my knees. No, kids now, not kids.
Watch
We got
this.
kids that ain't playing not one lick outdoors.
Caveat for James, for John Flowers. They used to have free track meets in the summertime
Yeah,
at Northside.
yeah.
we was teaching him the long jump.
Okay, but man, point is, he played outdoors. A Wiseman Park legend. He just sat in that seat right there. He'd have been in our studio and talked and loves outdoors. So for y'all two, I'm disappointed. We're gonna talk about it offset. We're gonna talk about it offset. But I'm shocked with y'all, but that's good. But I'm gonna turn it back over to Brad Gumbel because we've been at zeros about 20 minutes.
Because they ain't heard the last of that.
Yeah, you go. So go on and take us out, boss man.
Yeah, I also want to thank you guys for coming on the show and really bring some wisdom to the set, and your presence is always humble to me, man. Much love to the both of you guys.
Yeah. Pleasure me meeting you guys as well. Definitely some Fort Wayne legends, it sounds like. So
Yeah.
There he is.
So I'm gonna give you a quote for the day. The only way to be great is to love what you do. Have a good night.
That's a great quote.
All right, you go.
Respect the game on 3. 1, 2, 3, respect the game.